Security breaches usually begin with broken credentials or a simple human error, rather than a sophisticated technical hack. For most business leaders, this creates a difficult choice between giving employees basic warnings or spending $10,000 on an enterprise security platform. You can navigate this by building a tiered security program based strictly on return on investment, beginning with zero-cost actions. We use an effort versus impact matrix to evaluate security activities. In the high-impact, low-effort quadrant is account recovery. Requiring more effort for maximum impact are enterprise platforms. Finally, passive PDF modules require low effort but rarely yield meaningful improvements. Focus on the highest yield activities available for your current organizational size, rather than immediately purchasing the most complex tools. Even for employees who understand security risks, a forgotten password creates an immediate bottleneck if there's no recovery method in place. Every user account should have two specific recovery inputs, a mobile phone number and a secondary, non-work email address. These fields allow users to regain access independently and ensure you receive an immediate alert if a login attempt occurs from an unrecognized device. Multi-factor authentication is a requirement, but it can backfire if a user loses their device. Without secondary recovery info, the user is locked out of their work entirely. Implementing this requires management to enforce strict settings during employee onboarding, which adds minor friction to the process. This setup is free to implement and provides an immediate safety net for your accounts. Establish these recovery methods for every user before dedicating time or budget to an organizational training program. The next level of maturity is establishing a baseline of awareness using free resources. You can find credible, zero-cost training materials from government agencies like CISA and NIST. However, government content is often generic. It won't address the specific threats your employees see in their actual roles. To make this effective, supplement these modules with internal examples, such as actual phishing emails your company has received. A free program requires a specific workflow: selecting CISA or NIST content, adding your internal context, and manually tracking completions in a spreadsheet. For a small team, this process is sufficient to create a culture that is aware of common cyber threats. The trade-off is the administrative load. Chasing employees for completions and managing records manually takes significant time. As your headcount increases, the time spent updating spreadsheets and following up with staff grows in parallel. Managing the records eventually takes more time than the actual training. This manual method also lacks the ability to test behavior. You can see who read the materials, but you cannot verify if they would fall for a real attack. Manual tracking is a valuable starting point, but it eventually hits a limit where the administrative effort exceeds the security benefit. When manual tracking becomes unsustainable, you must transition to a dedicated platform like KnowBe4 or RansomLeak. This matrix shows the shift in capability. You move from generic modules to tailored content, and from manual spreadsheets to automated reporting. The biggest advantage of these platforms is simulated phishing, which is rarely included in free resources. Simulations allow you to measure how employees react to a realistic threat, providing a data point simple quiz scores cannot replicate. Comparing rows 4 and 5, a paid subscription increases your financial costs but significantly reduces the time your IT team spends on administration. Upgrading requires a budget and technical hours to integrate the platform with your existing company software and identity providers. The investment automates compliance recording and provides the objective evidence of behavioral change that auditors expect to see. Choosing your security program depends on two factors: your total headcount and your compliance requirements. This decision tree identifies which tier currently offers the best return for your organization. Individuals and solopreneurs should focus exclusively on securing their accounts with recovery info and MFA. Complex training is not yet a priority at this scale. Startup leaders with fewer than 25 employees and no strict audit requirements should utilize free CISA materials and track them manually. At this size, the manager usually has the bandwidth to personally contextualize the training without needing an automated platform. Once you reach 25 employees or face regulations like SOC 2 or HIPAA, you need to upgrade to a paid platform. Manual tracking is a liability for auditors, and passive modules are insufficient against the targeted social engineering attacks that larger organizations face. Select the strategy that matches your current scale to maximize ROI and minimize risk.